Having a buzz, scrubbing my pits.
Ah,
Whoa!
Bronton.
Whoa! Oh, Nathan, what are you doing in my house? And why do you have a Scottish accent?
No, I'm not Nathan, even though I'm clearly looking like Nathan. I'm Sean Connery. And,
Oh my God!
I've got a toaster.
Sean, why do you have a toaster? What the heck is that?
Goodbye,
What are you
Brenton.
doing in my house? What? What?
Shocking. Wow. What a gag, what a joke, what a time. It's New Year's Eve.
What an episode of Welcome Classic Movie Banter, people.
Woo!
Woo!
We're here again. You and I, it's like we've just finished the marathon and we're just near the finish line and we're like, you get to the end of a marathon at school and like you got to really sprint because that's where everyone is. So they're watching you and you got the pressure on you, Brenton.
Yeah, you don't have to fucking. You're like you've been fucking walking for the last kilometer, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta run this last 100 meters.
Gotta do
you know
it.
what I mean?
Gotta impress my friends. But I feel like you and I, we've gotten to that last 100-meter dash, and we're like, fuck the friends. Let's just crawl the end. We're just like, let's not even sprint. Let's go backwards.
Well, Nathan, it's the end of the year, and you know what that means. It means that we do another episode of this show where me, that guy Brenton, and that guy over there,
Hello.
Nathan, we talk about movies that are 20 years,
20 years.
or older. And we tell you whether these films, fucking hell, this line, dude, this line gets me every time. We tell you if these films are still worth watching today, or whether they're worth crushing the DVD disc, putting it in a top hat, and throwing it across the room at your mortal enemy and decapitating them somehow, defying all the laws of physics and hats.
Wow. That would be a great death. You know what I mean? Death by hat.
Fucking would it? I don't
When I
know.
think of,
What
like,
was
all
he
the
killed
ways
by?
you could go. Imagine you're just like walking and just like you get hit by a fucking hat and that's how you go. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere.
But they're doing the autopsy, right? And they're like, how did he die? And it's like, he was killed by a hat. It's like, fucking...
Could you imagine?
Like,
you're just watching like House or something like that. It's like, what's wrong, doctor? And it's like, it was the hat. And like, oh no.
it was Hat that killed the
Oh,
beast.
no. I would love that. Fucking Bell just hurls a top hat. He just...
Oh my goodness. The end of King Kong, the planes are like flying in, the machine guns are going, but instead of shooting, fucking bullets, high caliber bullets, it's just like fucking hats like spewing out of these machine guns, like at the end of King Kong, and he's all like,
that'd be a great way to kill the gorilla. And like, they put the hat on the body. Like, as soon as it falls off, they're like the same way you close someone's eyes when they die. They just put the hat on top of the face. Like,
Just think, there's an alien race out there that are like fucking hats. You know what I mean? like
it was like something Rick and Morty would do. It's just
and exactly. And when they invade Earth, which is inevitable, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Yeah. And when they invade Earth, we'll be fucking being chased and hunted by hats.
That feels like a horror movie, like a B movie from the 50s, where it's like the flying saucers are quite literally hats. Like that's the best prop they could find, but they've drawn little lights on them.
But yeah. But Nathan, you know what time of the year
it is. We have this stupid rule on the podcast, and the more we do it, the more I hate it, Brendan. And we can change it, but we don't.
Whoa. You hate it? Nathan, this was your fucking idea.
I know.
What are you talking about?
We're too far in.
If anyone has any right to complain about this, it is me. Okay? The audience knows, or and if you don't know, welcome to the show, but they know that my relationship with the Bond films is a rocky one. You know what I mean, Nathan?
I wish it was a Rocky one. I wish we were doing Rocky instead, but no. Honestly, it's like you're in prison and I'm the guard and I'm complaining you about being in here. It's like, oh, geez, this prison sucks.
That is a great analogy. That is exactly what it's like. In fact, that kind of defines our relationship. Jokes, guys. Jokes.
Please get out of the cage one day.
Please subscribe.
But we talk about a Bond movie because we're like the longest running franchise at the pinnacle of old films. But as we've learned through our 5 or 6 that we've done, maybe they're not. Maybe most of them aren't good.
Maybe.
But today could change, Brenton, because I made you a promise after we did the last Bond movie that when we go back to Sean Connery, we would do the highest Rotten Tomatoes score Bond next for our episode, and that led us to Goldfinger. No, Brenton, not your stripper name. The movie with Sean Connery.
Oh, sorry. I had a flashback to last Friday night. Shit, sorry.
Oh, no. Brenton's got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
But with your likes, maybe we can finally support Brenton so he can stop stripping.
Man's got to eat.
What are we doing? This is what happens when we don't have any New Year's party to go for, and we're doing the podcast instead.
Nathan, it's an even numbered episode. Do you have a question for me?
I do. Pitch Goldfinger for me, Brenton.
Well, Nathan, we're back again. We're back with Bond. and we're with the Scottish Bond. We're with Sean Connery.
When you say the Scottish Bond, it makes me sound like the Scottish play, like the one that just can't be mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. We don't mention his name. We just mention that he's Scottish.
Yes.
So Bond is back again, and guess what? There's a big problem in the world.
Oh no!
And you know what it involves?
What?
Gold.
Oh no, Brenton! That commodity,
Oh,
gold.
goodness.
What's going on with gold in this movie?
Oh goodness! I'm still not quite sure, but all I know is that Goldfinger. Well, there's gold in his fingers, and there's this guy called Goldfingers, and he likes his gold. He likes to smuggle his gold, and he likes to own it all, and he wants all the gold. That's literally
Right,
it.
yeah. Listeners, play a drinking game this episode. Every time one of us says the word gold, have a little drink.
Mate, that's like his incentive, is that he just wants fucking gold. And
It's
so
true.
it's Bond's job to take him down. And so this film, man, it's your classic Bond movie, It's Bond trying to take down a supervillain. It's got some Bond girls in there with some strange fucking names.
Yes.
And it's got some classic henchmen. It's got some good action scenes. It's got some fucking gadgets, man. This movie's got some gadgets involving cars as well.
Well.
And basically Bond has to infiltrate Goldfinger's I guess, what would you call it? Evil lair, I guess. And he has to find out what's going down, how Goldfinger's going to acquire all that gold and get away with it, and then stop that plan from happening. And it might involve a certain fort.
Well.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say, guys. That's all I'll
Brenton,
say.
I feel as teased as
Dude,
a
can
young
I
Yeah, go.
Can I say that these films are very hard to pitch? Because once you watch
Is it because
one,
they're all the same?
it's exactly that's it. I can't even say, oh yeah, look, fucking Sean Connery goes yellow face, and that was a mistake. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
jeez.
like,
We can say in this film confidently that Sean Connery does not go yellow face in this one.
I mean, he might for a bit. We don't know. Maybe
We
he
don't
was
know.
just-
We'll find out. But you're so right, because even look at like No Time to Die. Look at like the next one we're getting in April. Like even then, if you were to pitch that, it's what Bond goes out to stop a bad guy from doing a thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
Hey man,
they're all the same. But maybe in the next one, he's swinging by a rope on a bridge. Or, or maybe he's peeling off a thing off Rami Malek's face, Like, they're all the same.
okay. Let's play a little game quickly.
Okay.
What do you think is a certainty that's going to happen that has not happened in any Bond film, but will happen in the next one? No Time to Die.
He might actually stay dead. He might be actually killed off.
Okay. Do you want to know my vote?
What's your vote, Brenton?
There will be a scene where Rami Malek will lick Daniel Craig's face.
Like because with Javier Bardem, we got close to it when he was like interrogating Bond with his little, sexual innuendos.
It'll be this grotesque fucking scene where like that Rami Malek face, which is all crusty or whatever, he'll just lean in and give it a, and there'll be no context. It'll just happen. Okay.
Oh, okay. And how's Daniel Craig going to react? Is he going to lick back or like?
Undecided.
Oh, Brenton. Look,
Nathan,
look, we're great pitch. We're doing Goldfinger because we're finally wanting to turn around the boat on this franchise. This is probably the best one as far as like
steer the ship towards the shore. Yep.
we're steering it towards the shore. We're Incredibles 2ing it. And I'll tell you what, like this is the one that all the critics go back to, like saying, if you want to watch a classic, go watch Goldfinger. And it's also the one I probably love the most out of the classics, like out of all of them pre-Craig.
Okay, well, let's get into it, Nathan. You obviously like this movie.
It's good. It's not excellent, but it's still quite good. As far as Bonds go, I feel like this is as good as the old Bonds can get. And also, this is where you and I should have started. We shouldn't have started with On Her Majesty's. We should have started with this because it introduces Bond so well. You know what I mean?
Nathan, are you saying you regret making me watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Brenton, I regret a lot of things in this life. Half of them maybe to do with this podcast. But tell you what, On Her Majesty's definitely near the top of the list.
Okay, but continue. Sorry to interrupt.
And like, it's a good film. Like, it's a good film, but it is. I feel like, as much as you can do with this premise is done in this movie. especially with it set in the 60s. I feel like that's a big detriment to the Bond films today. Maybe that they have continually shifted with the times. I feel like if we were still to be in the 60s, I think it'd be a great snapback. And here we are in the 60s, Brenton. But what do you think?
Nathan.
Yes.
I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tiny tangent, we'll call it.
Okay.
Brenton's
I'm here to hold your
tangent.
hand as you do it, Brenton, as we cross this road together.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you.
Ooh, so sweaty.
Sorry, I'm very nervous. So it's like we were saying before, it's no secret that I've had issues with these films.
Yes.
I've questioned this franchise and its existence and its success for a while.
Yes.
There's those of you out there that love these movies, and they've criticized my opinion on it and said that I just don't get it. And maybe that's true. Nathan, this is the first film in this series that I've seen, apart from fucking some of the other ones I've said I've liked, which are the more recent ones that are doing something different with it, aka Casino Royale and Skyfall. This film is kind of what I've wanted old Bond films to be. You know what I mean?
Hey!
Actually, it lives on the promise of what these films are meant to be. That, you know, you have this character that we kind of focus in on, and it's a spy movie. We get some cool gadgets, we get some interesting set pieces, we get some fun, stupid shit that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's still fun. We get some quippy lines, we get some beautiful women that
very beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
goodness.
That's why Brenton's sweating.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so actually no, I guess it's the second Bond girl that's in this film. The one that involves binoculars.
Oh my god, she is so attractive. Good lord.
That's all I'm gonna say. Just my goodness. My goodness
Indeed. Mate, wait till you do Dr. No. That's when we really meet the Bond girl. So.
Well, let's not get too creepy. But
no. Yeah, sorry, listeners.
Apologies to our listeners, but wow.
Yeah. This is what happens when Brent and I don't have a New Year's Eve kiss, and we're awkwardly looking across the room like, what do we do?
What do we do? We're holding hands.
Oh no.
But let me go from a technical point of view from this film. I think the score is quite excellent. I think the opening song is the best song we've heard so far.
Easily, probably the best Bond song, as far as if you think of a classic Bond song. You know what I mean? Agreed. I think I still think Live and Let Die is probably the best one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And then obviously you got the Casino Royale one. What's it called? Oh yeah, You Know My Name.
Yeah, so I think Sean Connery is great as Bond. I think he really worked. I think he's genuinely really good. I like the villain in this film as well.
Yeah, Goldfinger himself. He's a good time, isn't he?
Yeah. So they're the great performances. There's an interesting performance from Goldfinger's henchman, OddJob.
Oh my goodness.
Which we're going to talk about OddJob in this.
We'll talk about him in spoilers, but just to start off, Brenton, what do you think of OddJob?
Okay, I will say this: Jaws. We love Jaws.
I don't mean
the film Jaws of
the henchman, not the shark. Love, yeah.
You know, and they obviously love him too because he came back. He was in 2 Bond films that we've seen.
Oh, iconic.
Okay, exactly, iconic. For me, I think OddJob steals the cake.
Wow. And we love Jaws, but I agree. OddJob is amazing in this film. He's so good.
Incredible.
He's almost worth the price of admission. He's that good as a henchman.
I'd say he is. I'd say he is worth the price of admission because you'll get all the gags, you'll get all the references from now on. But on top of that, I remember playing. Do you remember playing GoldenEye, like the N64 game?
No, I never touched it, but all the nerds on the internet love this game.
So I never played the N64 version either. But they did a re-release of the game for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh my goodness.
And this version involved, I think it was a remake of GoldenEye basically, but with using Daniel Craig as an asset in the game instead of Guy Pearce. Yeah, so it's an interesting
You mean Pierce
idea.
Brosnan?
Sorry, yeah.
I would love to see a Guy Pearce Bond movie.
Sorry.
I am the Daniel Craig.
The name Pierce is involved somewhere. Yes, it's Pierce Brosnan. God, Pierce Brosnan, Mamma Mia. Anyway, Anyway, what the fuck was... Oh, yeah, the game. So basically in this game, and I have a friend, Lachlan, shout out to Lachlan, we've shouted you out a couple of times, who owned the game...
He still won't return our calls.
Oh, gosh, that asshole. Anyway, basically, we're all playing this game. We're sitting there with our friends, and we're all playing this 4-player, multiplayer, which is, I guess, the point of GoldenEye. The game was like the big deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
And you could pick your characters. There was a bunch of characters from the series that you could pick, and I always played OddJob because his special ability was to throw his fucking hat. And if you managed to hit someone with the top hat, it was like an instant kill.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was just like,
and
it was
also that's what happens in the movie, which is inherently very stupid, but I don't care.
But just enjoy it for what it is, dude.
Oh,
Love it.
It's
Love it.
amazing. And it's so funny because you couldn't see that happening now in the Craig movies. You could not in good conscience see like Daniel Craig running about and then encountering OddJob and being like, attacked by a fucking hat. But in this movie it works, and it works in spades, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think it's fun. It's a bit silly, but hey, we can all use a bit of silliness. You know what I mean, Nathan?
Oh, it's amazing, and he's so good. Like it has a little bit of inconsistencies in the lore of the movie, like what it does affect and what it doesn't affect. But I guess we'll get to that more in spoilers. Like,
yeah, well, exactly.
What I love also about this movie, normally with the Bond films, Brenton, we talk about, this is Bond set in Japan, or this is Bond set in X. This one we get Bond in a couple different places. One of them I loved, and one of them I really didn't love. We get Bond that goes to Switzerland, and it's wonderful, and it's old Switzerland, and it's beautiful. But then also, for some reason, Brenton, this also takes place in Middle America.
This is true.
Like, a lot of the movie takes place in Middle America. And why? Who in production thought, you know where we should set this? Kansas. That picturesque area of the world.
I'm just going to put it out there. I don't mind it. I think it works. Because in terms of the plot of where the plot goes, it works in terms of what what's his name, Goldfinger's plan is. It makes sense. So I'm fine with that. For me as well, I will say this from a technical point of view. I think I actually think there's some nice camera work, and I think the way the camera captures like the action scenes in this movie is quite well done. The opening action scene is interesting and obviously has an interesting ending, but
and amazing.
But I think it's the way the editing and the camera is working. I'm happy with it. I'm not sitting there bored out of my mind. I'm kind of in there, and I feel it is the best way to put it, I guess. Like it feels good. It feels like it doesn't feel like a real fight necessarily, but it feels like a spy fun fight. You know what I mean? Like
I guess the choreography is as good as you'd expect from the time of the 60s.
Totally. Yeah.
You have to be a little bit forgiving towards. Obviously, you're not going to get amazing Jedi jumps like you're going to get today, but like. I also think, I like the directing, I like the way it's shot, but I don't think the cinematography is that extraordinary, No,
it's not extraordinary, but hey, I thought the way the film's being captured.
You know what's really hard about this, Brenton? It's the fact that we saw North by Northwest, which is arguably a better Bond film than any of these. Because we see
yeah,
because we saw what Hitchcock did with this very similar premise of like this bloke going about on a cat and mouse kind of thing, and so... I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard seeing Bond go to America after you see, Hitchcock go to Mount Rushmore. It's a little bit tricky because we've seen what can happen when a thing like this is beautifully shot and beautifully choreographed.
Sure. Yeah. Look, I agree with that. But again, like for what this film is, I think it's quite good. Is my point.
It is quite good, but also what comes with the 60s comes, the dated stuff. What do you think about the sexism? What do you think about the racism that's also in this movie? Like,
it's kind of inherent to it. You know what I mean?
Especially the way the women are treated. Like, Bond, slaps them on the ass and he's like, "Oh, this is a man's talking now," and then they have to like trottle off, and it's like, that shit doesn't hold up.
Yeah, it's a bit on the nose. It's very much on the nose.
Especially the most famous Bond girl in all of Bond girls is in this, which is Pussy Galore.
Yeah, who I like. I like Pussy.
Were you surprised by her character? I was surprised like she had a lot of shit to do in this story.
Well, yeah, and she wasn't the most consistent character is the only thing I'd say about her.
No, she was all over the place with her character motivations as well. Like, she was flip-flopping about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She was flip-flopping about.
Almost like a cat. But with Pussy, like, I was surprised. I'm just gonna keep talking about it because I love saying the name. But with her, I expect Bond girls not to do that much. And like, I like that she had a little bit of agency in the movie, but also that kind of gets taken away at points. So like,
exactly.
I don't think this movie did the best that it could with her, despite the fact she gets more than most Bond girls to do something.
Hey, you know what? They're making progress. And but they've still got a long way to go.
They got a long way to go. But even if you look at like Spectre or like Skyfall, the Bond girls don't do that much. Still,
no. They don't. We'll have to see with No Time to Die because that will be interesting.
Yeah.
Given that the new 007 is in fact a woman.
A woman, no less. Well, even the trailer gave it away. It's kind of like she's been a 00 agent for years. But I'd still be very surprised if she does replace Daniel Craig.
No, I don't think she'll replace him. But hopefully she gets some things to do.
Wouldn't it be so funny if in No Time to Die, like, you know, the whole movie they've been setting up, like, she'll be the next protagonist. And, like, she's been like, oh, we'll pass the torch of this whole movie about doing it. And then the final action sequence, she's just, like, viscerally killed. And Daniel Craig's like, fuck. And then out of nowhere comes Barbara Broccoli holding another contract for 3 more Bond movies. And he's like, no.
Nathan, it does sound plausible. So like it doesn't sound ridiculous.
If you think about the worst thing that Bond could face as like an antagonist, it's just simply another contracted Bond movie. Like the villain, instead of like whipping out a torture chamber, it's just like another like MGM contract, and he's like, you're gonna do 3 more of these, Daniel Craig. He's like, you gotta get me out of here. And he just commits seppuku.
Getting back to the film.
Right, Goldfinger. How good's that soundtrack?
Yeah, it's great. But to kind of wrap my feelings up in a burrito, I'll say this. Whilst I think this movie's good, like I think this movie's quite good, and it gives me hints of what I want this series to be, like in terms of these old films. It's not a masterpiece, like we established just then. You know, it's not an extraordinary piece of cinema that I think I'm going to remember, you know, and be talking about in 10 years' time. You know what I mean? Like,
no. Although when people ask me about Bond movies, I do normally recommend Goldfinger. Like even before we did this podcast, I was going to people, oh, you want to watch a Bond? Watch a Goldfinger.
I'd still recommend other films, but that's me, as we know.
Yeah, but also now you and I are a little bit more versed in the Bond movies.
Yeah,
we've seen the rest of the crop rent, and we're like, oh, it's it's like you got a whole bucket of bad apples, and you're like, I guess it's the least rotten apple.
The point is that like I can recommend this to watch on a Thursday night, so I'd give it a thumbs up. But I'm saying that it's no network. It's
it really is no network.
You know what I mean?
It just sucks on the podcast where we exclusively look at classics, and then like the odd random film that you and I like go through a fever to think, oh yeah, this can be in our canon. Comparing all the Bond films to that, again, it pales because there are issues with this movie, but this is the better of them. I just by sure default, I have to give it a thumbs up simply because it's not as shit as the others. But in saying that, I did have a lot of fun with this movie. It is a genuine good time.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff we'll talk about more in spoilers. I think it is worth your time, and I think out of all the Bonds, this probably is the best starting point.
Yeah, agree.
I mean, would you recommend this over the first Jaws movie that we thumbed up as well?
The first Jaws movie?
Well, the first movie with Jaws in it.
Would I put this over that? Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I probably would too. I think if you like, and then after this, watch that one and then see if you get a groove for these things. So yeah. All right, Brandon. Well, let's then get into some spoilers.
Spoilers, nothing but spoilers, spoiling this movie.
Let's talk about this opening scene, Brandon, because I love it. It's so good. Because the film opens and almost stole the movie because James Bond is snorkeling about outside like a power plant or something like that. And his snorkel's got a fucking bird on it. And he's just getting out of the water like it's nobody's business, and he just tosses it aside like
that. Nearly stilled this movie. That little duck or whatever, and his head pokes up, and Sean. And what's funny is in that moment you can see Sean Connery dying inside. You know what I mean? Like you can see it in his eyes.
Really
he's just like fucking hell.
Oh jeez, I just want to see him like around on set. Like he's standing around with like the assistant director, and he's like having a conversation. And he's trying to act normal while he's just got this fucking bird on his hat. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, oh, it's excellent. And like, I love how this movie segues into the violence because you got this scene where, which refers to opening gag where James Bond's like sleeping with this girl. Like he's immediately having some roots. And then, this henchman comes into like the apartment and he has this kind of scuffle with it. And the way he sees the henchman coming is that he sees the reflection of it in the girl's eyes as he's making out with him. Making out with her.
Yes.
Oh, it's
and then
so
he instantly
stupid.
Grabs the girl and puts her in between him and the assailant.
It's like, Jesus, you're literally treating women as object. Oh, but it's because it's so ludicrous in a 2019 lens. I love it. It's so stupid.
So they literally throw each other around the room for a little bit, like literally just throwing each other, like fucking tossing each other about, and then suddenly he tosses him in the bath, and then he throws the electrical goods in the bath with the assailant, and shocking. And then the film kind of opens, and you're like, oh, there you go.
Oh my goodness,
it was a good opening scene.
It's also one of those opening scenes as well that really have no impact on the overall story. But I love that we have it.
Yeah,
It's
I
just-
agree.
It's so great. And it immediately establishes Bond as this like misogynistic, just like doesn't give a shit how to do a job. What a good bloke.
And then we move on to another great scene, which I will bring up, which is let's say the Casino Royale scene before Casino Royale, which features Goldfinger playing cards with a random patron at this hotel.
But it's such a shitty way to introduce a villain because it doesn't make us intimidated or fearful of him. It just makes us feel sorry for him.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. So in this scene, Goldfinger's playing this random hotel guest, and then Bond goes up to this balcony where this Bond girl, whose name I can't remember, is and she's the one that's like the stunning, gorgeous, like, oh my goodness,
oh my god,
beautiful
she
woman.
is so beautiful.
And Bond goes up to her, and she's looking through the binoculars at the Goldfinger's opponent's cards, and she's relaying the information to him so he can beat. It makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't have to explain this. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. He's cheating. So Bond goes up,
which is moronic because you think the other player would see the earpiece. You know what I mean?
So Bond talks in the radio for a bit, and he's like, "Oh, fuck you, Goldfinger," and then Goldfinger's like, "Ah, fuck," and then Bond kind of turns off the radio and he takes the girl away, and Goldfinger loses the game, and he snaps this pencil. He gets really angry and he snaps this pencil in half, and it's like quite a funny moment where he's like, "Rrr," and he just kind of snaps it, and
it's because it's so obvious as well. He's cheating during the game. Like, that's so obvious.
But that's what's funny when he snaps the pencil. I think that's the moment we're meant to be intimidated, Nathan. But you know what I mean. There is nothing.
Oh no, we don't want to be that pencil.
There's nothing less intimidating than a grown man snapping a pencil, like as in to be like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'll snap you next. It's like, mate, I was snapping pencils with one hand in year one. You know what I mean?
I remember, Brenton, the very first time you and I met in primary school, Brenton, was when you walked up to me and you just snapped a pencil.
Yeah, and you ran away. You ran away like a little bitch.
Oh no. I ran right into this podcast studio and I haven't left since.
And then basically what happened with like the pencil pot that was in the middle of like all of our tables in year one, the teacher came up to mine and was like, why the fuck are like all these pencils been snapped in half? There was two things you could do in year one that would like...
And then you awkwardly tap your earpiece.
yeah. There was two things in year one that you could do that would like get you in a lot of trouble. One was snap pencils in half, and two was sharpen the other end, like the opposing end of a pencil.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember?
That
Would you ever do that?
Up. I hated it. I hated it so much when you picked up a pencil and you see some idiot has just like, because you got a double-ended pencil and you're like, well, now both ends are pointy. And
Nathan, can I reveal a piece of critical information to you?
What?
I was one of those kids that...
You idiot. Get out of my house, Brenton. You're no longer welcome on the podcast.
And you know what I mean? The first time I did it, the reasoning behind it was because I'd seen The Phantom Menace and I'd seen that double-bladed lightsaber.
Were you trying to fucking Darth Maul a pencil?
The Darth Maul lightsaber, and I was just like...
What were you gonna do with it?
I was like...
Would you like sit next to your nerd friends and just like battle like with your pencils?
Well, the thing was in year one, I was like part of the cool group, like the cool group of people, and I was like, "Hey guys, check out my..." Yeah, not exactly.
They see the pencil, they're like, "Get out."
That was the beginning of the end. They were like, "Get out."
But why? Like, I used to hate it because, like, also I would lend out pencils and I'd get them back with the other end sharpened. I'm like, why? I'm like, it's not even yours.
Hey, that's it. But the thing with it was as well, Nathan, was that it was actually the teacher was like to us one day, guys, boys, it's dangerous. And we're like, why? And she was like, because kids chew on the end of the pencils and they're going to be fucking chewing lead. And I was just like, oh.
But I think it comes down to the child. Like, you have to be pretty moronic to like wanting to chew like the end of a normal pencil and you see it's a pointy thing and you're like, no, I can get around this. And then just keep doing it anyway.
If you'd seen some of the kids in my class, geez.
Brenton, I was in that class.
Nathan, there was a day that there was a kid in my class that got some scissors and cut a fucking huge chunk of his hair out to give himself a haircut, and the teacher had and the teacher had to like get the like tuft of hair that he'd like cut out of his head and like taped it in the kid's diary to send home to his the parents.
Fuck? I do not know this story.
To explain what the fuck had happened, and that like the kid had it was a kid by the name of Jordan, I believe.
Jordan, what was the first letter of the last name?
An H.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It was a piece of blonde hair, a tuft of hair, and I said to Jordan, Jordan, like, don't do that shit, man. One, it's stupid, and two, like, the teacher's gonna freak the fuck out. Next minute, gone.
Oh my god.
And it was like out of the fringe too. He looked like a moron for like a month. It was hilarious.
Could you imagine your child comes home and like you open up the diary to like sign like the reading schedule, whatever it is, and you just see like a whole lock of hair.
Yeah, just like taped into the kid's diary being like, your kid fucking gave himself a haircut today. It's not my problem, bitch. Like, that was pretty much the note. That was pretty much the explanation to the parent. And the parents would have just been like, yeah, well, you know, Jordan cuts his own hair. What of it?
But Brenton, put those scissors down. I don't want you to get in trouble either.
Oh yeah, these locks, they need a cutting at the moment. Let me tell you. But I will put them. We'll do this later. Nathan, let's talk about OddJob, and let's talk about some of his most famous scenes, such as the scene when Bond is trying to escape in his really fucking cool car.
Yes. Is that when he bursts through a gate and this old lady suddenly has a machine gun and she's trying to mow him down, which is amazing.
It's an incredible moment when that old lady pulls out the machine gun with the gate. Awesome. But Bond is heading down this alleyway, right? And he's trying to get out, and he notices there's a car also coming at him, but the car's not turning away, and he's like, oh, fuck. And so he crashes the car to, like, save himself, in quotation marks, save himself from the disaster that was about to occur. And it's revealed that OddJob had set up this fucking mirror, and like what he'd actually been seeing was his own car like, coming towards him, like in the mirror.
Which makes no sense at all.
And OddJob walks over to the car, looks at Bond's car and what he's done. He looks back at the mirror, and he just has this smile, like he has this smile and nod, like basically to the camera, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Goodness. And it's an amazing moment. Hilarious.
OddJob in this movie is just so jolly. He's just so happy the whole way through. He's this henchman that he's just so like chuffed that he's got this like killer hat and he can use it for his work. He's just like, he's a guy that's just found his calling. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would say that OddJob is kind of like an internet troll. Like he kind of does shit. He trolls people and he like really enjoys it. You know what I mean? He'll always give like a little sly smile and be like, "Hey."
He just loves his little smile. Like he's just so happy the whole time. Like, but I have issues with his hat because it does different things. So he gives it the same throw. He doesn't even change the strength of the throw or the angle of the throw, but he does this throw with the hat. And like sometimes it'll knock someone out, but another time it'll carve like a cement statue, like a marble statue. And I don't understand the logic of how it can do that to a statue, but just like knock out someone else.
Nathan, there is no logic, my friend.
Even for OddJob himself, like when Bond is like, he finds the gold body, the iconic woman painted in gold, which is amazing, and he goes to the fridge or whatever it is to get a drink, like OddJob knocks him out with just one little hand hit to the neck or whatever it is. And like what is this man's style?
Nathan, OddJob has got a lot of things, and he has style and abounds, is what I'd say to that. There's no one like OddJob, okay? So I'm not even sure if OddJob is human, okay? OddJob might be an alien from another planet, okay? And I think, don't ask questions, just enjoy the odd job.
He's a very odd job. He's got a great name as well, doesn't he? OddJob. Like, he can do the odd job with his hat, can't he?
He certainly can. That sounds really dirty. So let's move on.
Oh no. Let's move on. What do you think about the iconic laser scene? Because that's like the most Bond of all the scenes, isn't it? It's like the one that's the most parodied. That scene where he's like strapped onto the chair and Goldfinger's like, hello, Mr. Bond. And he's like, look at this. It's 1960s, but I have a laser. And this may seem primitive to your 1960s minds. But you're going to be cut up in half, straight through the balls first.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Pretty great line. What do you think about all that?
I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty fucked up when you really thought about it. You know what I mean? Like, what a way to go.
Also, why not just shoot him? He doesn't even want to interrogate him. He just wants to see Bond die.
Yeah, but he's giving him a painful death. You know, it's the type of guy that Goldfinger is. He's trying to make him suffer. Make him suffer.
Strike me down.
Do it.
Bond, you're a Palpatine. He's like, what? No.
Strike me down. Your existence will be the last of the rebellion.
But it's a pretty great scene, isn't it? Like, I do love, like, like Bond is like sweating bullets and he's just like, oh no, like, do I say anything? Do I help him out? And then like OddJob's just standing there and Goldfinger's like, oh, even if you die, we'll just get the other Bond, we'll get the other 00 agent to talk. And he's like, fuck. Like Bond's got nothing up his sleeve. Like, oh.
Yeah.
It's
But
great.
he gets out of it.
I love as well how Goldfinger treats Bond during the movie. Like when Bond's trying to work out Goldfinger's plan, he's like a supportive like uncle. He's like, no, you can do it. You can work it out.
Yeah, I actually adore that as well. I think that's great.
Yeah, he's like, good. He's like, good job, Bond. He gives him like a sticker at the end of the day. He's like, you worked out my plan. Like, gives him a little scruffle of the hair. Like,
Now, Nathan, we've talked a lot about OddJob. We've talked a lot about Goldfinger. Let's talk about another central character in this film known as Pussy Galore. And specifically, let's talk about Pussy Galore's flying circus for a second.
God. I must be dreaming. Jesus Christ. It's like it comes out of nowhere, and it really comes out of nowhere because you meet the woman and she's like a pilot and you're like, okay, she's got a quirky name. Sure, she's working for Goldfinger. What's going on there? We don't know. And she's very adamant, like, I'm not sleeping with him. He asked her like 3 times and she's like, I'm not sleeping with him. But Bond's like, nah, you're definitely sleeping with him, eh? But like her primary job is like this weird kind of like, she's like this head honcho for this like literal flying circus of Victoria's Secret models, all these like women who are like in the most sexy pilot outfits I've ever seen in my life, and they're just like, and they just work for Pussy Galore and they're just flying about.
I think that'd be a pretty good job. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in terms of like, you know, if you want some job security, I feel like if you worked for Pussy Galore's flying circus, you'd be all right. You know what I mean? I think you know, it's contract work. You know, you keep it interesting.
They're getting good hourly rates.
I think so. I think they're being well looked after. You know what I mean? So yeah, sure.
It's great. Like
one of the scenes I really enjoyed in this film was actually the barn scene.
Oh my goodness. It's so stupid though. It's like, it's because Bond, like, he's trying to obviously go with every woman he meets, but she's so like supportive of Goldfinger, and she turns at a dime the second he's like, let's go into a barn, and like they start off like fighting each other. It's like this weird kind of fight foreplay kind of thing.
Yeah, she like flips him to the ground, and then he flips her to the ground, and then they flip each other, and then the next thing you know, they're fucking. So. Yeah,
it's like, Jesus. Like, as soon as they flip, he's like, ooh, harder. She's like, okay. It's just, it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, come on. It's just, I can't believe like that he turns so loyalty like that. It's like, I know he's meant to be good looking, but Jesus, no one's that good looking. You know what I mean?
I like how you said, I know he's meant to be good looking, like insinuating that Sean Connery is not good looking. And
look,
that, like,
I'm sure at the time he was a very good looking man, but he's also a man that looks as though he like goes to a pack of cigarettes a day and like his exercise, and also he drinks like a bottle of whiskey a day. It's like, that's not going to do good things to you.
Hey, I guess I'll find out.
Oh no, Branson, put down the glass.
Hey.
But like the whole reason like the flying circuses in this movie of these beautiful women is because of Goldfinger's plan, which out of all the Bond plans we've had, Brenton, all 7 of them, Jesus, this must be the stupidest. Like, and also the most stupidly executed, and that's saying something.
It's an interesting plan. It involves Fort Knox. It involves like fucking sleeping gas or something.
But just the sequence where they fly over the whole fucking town, and they've got this sleeping gas, and for some reason, every person in the military just collapses onto the ground at once the second the gas goes over.
Okay, here's a question I have for you.
Yes.
Is it meant to be because like Pussy's in on it, right? And so like they're faking that the sleeping gas works so they can surprise Goldfinger?
No. Because also like no, Brenton. No. Because like if you didn't know the plan and suddenly everyone's fallen down like if say Pussy like reported to the military, hey, this is going to be a thing that happens tomorrow, they wouldn't just go along with it. They would just be ready and prevent it. Or they give him gas masks. You know what I mean?
But my point is that everyone wakes up and they seem pretty like aware that this was going to happen. They're like, all right, yep, next part of the plan. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's that. I think it's just purely sloppy, illogical, like choreographing. The fact that they get sleeping gas to knock everyone out, and it affects them instantly. Like, I'm no expert on sleeping gas, but I'm sure there must be a little bit of coughing, and maybe they're staggering for a little bit before they finally collapse. But with these ones, it's just like lights out in a heartbeat.
Imagine being on set that day and trying to like direct the extras to like do that scene.
Oh my God.
Like,
so
and
3,
now you're
2,
asleep.
1, and drop, and they edit out the audio.
Literally.
Oh.
But that leads us to the climax of the film, really, which is Bond's one-on-one with OddJob.
Oh my goodness. And it's excellent as well, because there's a point where Bond's fighting OddJob and he's just throwing gold bars at him and they're just bouncing off. Oh, he's great.
What a moment. And OddJob throws the hat and it gets stuck in the bars. And then incidentally, OddJob dies by being fucking electrocuted.
Oh my God.
Which is like a throwback to the beginning of the film and the bath scene.
It's amazing. And it's like, I'm sad that he died. I'm like, oh, poor little OddJob. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
when he got shocked,
died
I
too.
was more upset by that than any other character death in the movie. Like, oh. It's like I felt nothing when the sister died, and Bond's like, "Well, I'm sleeping with you now instead of your sister." It's like I feel nothing there. It's OddJob that got me into tears.
But what did you think about the real ending, though? The real climax? Because Goldfinger gets away with his
does.
stupid gold gun. And
which is weird because there is a Bond movie called The Man with the Golden Gun. So is that meant to be Goldfinger again, or is it the same gun, but it's like Luke's lightsaber? It's just passed between generations.
we might find out one of these days.
We will.
And so basically, the climax of the film, the real climax, happens in this plane, which is just like, it's so abrupt. Goldfinger's like, "I got you now," and then he doesn't. And then Bond parachutes with Pussy down to this island, I think it is, or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, like, we don't have to be rescued yet." And then they fucking parachute.
Oh my goodness. Another Bond movie that ends with them having roots. It's like, come on, James. It's it's so stupid. And also, like, I love the effect in the 60s of Goldfinger falling out of the plane. As he's being sucked out the window.
Hilarious.
Oh, I love it. I love as well the final scene. I love it when the Bond's trying to defuse the bomb. It's a nice callback to one where we saw the other guy, the other Bond defusing the bomb. But I love it when he's trying to defuse it, and like as he's about to do it, this random guy just jumps in and does it himself.
I know, it's so rando. It's just like
you can see like Connery's like, "Oh, I guess I can defuse a bomb. I've had no training, but I guess I could do it." And the other guy's like, "Step aside, like, let me do this." Like, it's
step
great.
aside, you dickhead. Yeah, it is great.
It is so good. Brenton, I actually have an idea for a special segment that I want to do today.
Oh, okay. Nathan, introduce another special segment, my friend.
I want to bring back a segment into this because I just thought of it then. And I like the idea of it. Can we try and put OddJob into the MCU?
Of course we can.
How would this work?
OddJob would be a villain in the MCU, okay? And specifically, when I think about who would make it a great fit for in like a certain as an antagonist to a film, it's not the Avengers, okay? It's not the Avengers.
No, the whole Avengers would kick his ass in a heartbeat.
I think that OddJob would make a great Spider-Man villain.
Oh, he would, as in like D-list villain, like robbing a bank at the start of the movie, or like main antagonist.
I think he could be a good main antagonist.
What's his motive? Like, what if he teams up with like Norman Osborn or something like that?
Like, okay. No, he teams up with Rhino, okay? And
ooh.
and Rhino's fucking wrecking the city, and then there's a fight where Tom Holland has to take them both on, and he's trying to swing towards Rhino to get the velocity to like, hit Rhino really hard and get past his Rhino hide.
Oh yeah.
But OddJob like keeps throwing his hat and cutting his webs.
That'd be great. Like, that beats any Willem Dafoe villain. Like, you just got OddJob beating Spider-Man. It'd be great if OddJob won as well. Like,
yeah, and he just gives that sly grin.
Oh, it'd be excellent. Speaking of the sly grin, let's see what stills this movie.
Nathan, if you don't already know, even though we've been doing this podcast together for a while, if you don't know already, Nathan, what stills this movie is a segment on the show where you or I pick a still, a frame, a picture from the film that we think is funny, that we think is poignant, or we just think is just like sums up the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we pick that and we have a chat about it. And obviously you can find this still on our YouTube and check it out because it's a good time. Now, Nathan, you and I were at odds with what to pick.
We were, but you picked the right photo, Brenton. It is extraordinary.
I picked the scene where OddJob becomes a golf caddy.
It's amazing. And because you see his stance. So like, if you look at this on our YouTube, it's him standing in the middle of a golf course, which I found as a boring scene, but it's great because he's in it. And like, he's just waddling about. He's just holding the golf clubs and he's just having a good time, And like,
he definitely is.
His shoulders are so like they're so stretched out, and he's just got this stance, like he's got the best posture in the world, and he's just so happy. And I think in this moment as well, the camera just cuts to him as he's watching the game, and he's just enjoying life.
Yeah, man, he's just standing there, and he has this weird stance, like his arms are kind of like splayed out to the side a little bit, as they always are. But he's got this huge golf bag on his shoulder as well, and it's like it weighs nothing, which it probably does to him. So,
you know what? Seeing this photo, I really want to go to my next costume party as OddJob. I reckon it'd be a great thing to do.
I think we should do it. I think we should go to
Halloween. Okay, how about you be OddJob and I be the Hat?
No. This is what we're doing next year for Halloween. I don't know which one is which. We can have this discussion. Well, we can have it right now. One of us should go as OddJob, and one of us should go as Jaws.
Oh, and we have like a OddJob Jaws off.
Yeah.
Who would win in that battle?
Ooh. Okay.
It's
a tough one.
Because OddJob would throw the hat first. So like they've seen each other and they're sprinting at each other. Like OddJob would throw the hat first. Would Jaws be able to dodge it?
No.
Or would he catch it with his teeth?
No, the question is whether Jaws can take the damage output from the hat and still survive long enough to get to OddJob. I think Jaws might actually survive the hat throw.
He would not survive the hat throw. Unless it clanged against the metal teeth. If it hit his skin, he'd be dead.
Okay.
I feel like he would catch the hat with his bare teeth and throw it back at OddJob and be a bad thrower, so it just go in the other direction, and then he would maul OddJob. I think Jaws would win.
Ooh, I think it's a tough one. I think it's a tough call because I think OddJob has the power of range. With the hat,
he's also stronger. I think.
Yeah, I agree. So I think I think if they ever actually clash, there'd be a bit of a tussle. But I think if Jaws got a good bite on OddJob, it's all over.
Oh, Brenton, that's what they should be doing for the next Bond film. In fact, for the next Bond film, just don't make it a Bond film. Make it a spin-off with just Bond villains versing each other, battle royale style.
Maybe OddJob and Jaws team up and they just take down the rest of the villains.
Oh, it'd be amazing. I would see that movie in a heartbeat, Brenton. I'd see it more than anything else. They're just both taking down Rami Malek and he's just like screaming for help, and just like Javier Bardem's just like smoking off the side. Oh, be excellent.
Nathan, I've got a question for you, my friend.
What is it?
How did they make this making movie magic? Yeah.
Oh, Brenton. Well, I'll tell you how they made this. I'll tell you what. You know that for Goldfinger, the actor that was considered for Goldfinger was Orson Welles? But his financial demands were too high, so they couldn't get him.
Mate, that's really interesting. I wonder how Orson would have handled this role.
Yeah.
I think I'm glad with the casting we got eventually. But, you know, it puts me in mind, maybe we should review an Orson Welles film at some point.
We should.
Nathan, do you know that this movie was the fastest grossing movie in movie history when it was released? And was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records? That's how you know it's legit. That book's like the Bible, you know what I mean? Like that.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah,
it
man.
outgrossed 10 Commandments, did it actually?
Yeah, it was the fastest grossing movie in movie history at the time. Yeah.
There you go. Good on him. I must say, everyone credits this one as like the Bond blockbuster. Like Dr. No and From Russia like kind of stirred up the crowd and like get people ready, but Goldfinger's like what sold it. In the same way that Iron Man got people's attention, but the Avengers is what built the MCU, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I got some bad news for you, Brenton. So Sakata, the bloke who played OddJob, he was badly burned while filming his death scene.
No! How?
I know. But so he was genuinely burned and all that kind of stuff. However, the actor kept on holding onto the hat with determination despite the pain until the director called cut, because he was that committed to the role, Brenton.
Nathan, what a fucking champion.
Oh, what a legend. Oh, I tell you what, Jaws wouldn't do that if he was being burned alive.
Imagine if you heard that the actor that played Jaws was like, you know, he was so in character that he actually like fucking bit into a shark and like killed it.
Oh, I just think in his odd time, in his like his spare time, he just does that. He just like goes swimming with sharks. He just turns into Shark Boy essentially.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Goldfinger actually wears yellow or a golden item of clothing in virtually every scene in the film. And even in the scenes that he's not wearing any golden clothes, which is where he wears the US Army Colonel's uniform, he carries the golden revolver. Thus, in the chronology of James Bond films, he is actually the first man with a golden gun.
Oh, there you go. All right, we did get an answer to that. That's exciting.
There you go. Yeah.
Do you reckon then we'll have like a scene like in like No Time to Die, where like James Bond is given the golden gun and like Maz Kanata's like, it calls to you. And Lupita Nyong'o rocks up in like a mocap suit and Daniel Craig's like, what? And she's like, use it to save us all.
And then the next film, that film ends with like Daniel Craig coming across the next Bond and he like hands it to them slowly. And it's like a cliffhanger ending, and then like the next Bond film, it's like that Bond actually like tosses the gun over his shoulder and then like gives him like another 3-year contract. Oh, 3-film contract.
Oh, I would love it. Oh, that would make me so happy.
It's like, psych, we're stuck with you, Daniel. And he's just like, for fuck's sake.
I don't want to keep making Bond movies and being paid tens of millions of dollars for it. No. He turns to his wife, Rachel Weisz. He's like, what's the MCU like? Can I join? And she's like, no. It's like, I'll be a Black Widow. And she's like, no.
Absolutely not, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, hey.
Let's
look at this film's poster.
No, okay, because it fucking sucks.
What? I like this poster.
No, it's shit. Look at it. That is...
This poster's on our YouTube Shades audience, and... It's this golden woman who looks as though she's sleepwalking, painted gold, and like on her also is like photoshopped like James Bond holding a pussy galore, like pointing his gun at the camera, and it's on this black background with a text saying James Bond back in action. Goldfinger.
Nah, this sucks. Honestly, like the golden woman just looks kind of odd. I think like on
She's
this
got
poster.
a very weird expression, doesn't she?
It's a bad fucking pose, and the fact that they've like kind of superimposed like James Bond and pussy like just kind of on her body, like kind of faded. It's like in theory it should work, but in reality it fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's like this podcast.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh.
So let's talk about how we can improve the podcast. No, how we can improve the poster. Nathan, I think that it should just be a hand in frame with a golden gun, and it's like Goldfinger. Superimposed in the golden gun is the same shot of pussy and James.
But that will confuse it with the film called The Man with the Golden Gun.
Nathan, at this point in time, the Man with the Golden Gun has not been released. You can do what the fuck you
We're
want. We're
doing these movies in hindsight. We know this is a thing that exists. We shouldn't do that to the poster. And probably the novel does exist, I want to say.
Nathan, I feel like that's a good poster, in my opinion.
I'm sure it's a good poster, but not for this movie. I think what it should be, Brendan, is it should be OddJob related. It should be like you know what it should be? It should be OddJob holding a bucket of gold paint and he's throwing it at the camera. Like he's about to splash us with this huge wave of paint. That's what it should be.
Nathan, title talk.
Yes. Was there a Goldfinger in Goldfinger? I guess if you look at the corpse of the gold lady, she did have a gold finger.
That is true. You got me there. But also there was a guy called Goldfinger in Goldfinger. So there was. I think it's a good title. And it's got a ring to it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's nice, it's short and snappy, and you're wondering why is the finger gold? It's like also it's a little bit. There's some sexual innuendo in there. It's like, ooh, Goldfinger. What's happening with that finger?
Nathan, I didn't get that sexual innuendo at all, but like you can take it how you want to take it. You know what I mean? Nathan, let's get rid of this power and let's pass it to the people. Power to the people. Let's pass it to the people. The power.
Rotten Tomatoes. They gave this movie 97% from the critics. They're bloody throwing roses left, right, center, and the audiences gave it 89%.
Okay, so I agree with the audiences. I think that's 89's a good number. 97's too high.
I do want to point out that like 97% does not equal the movie to be 97 out of 100.
I get it. I get that. But that's how I'm going to take it.
Oh, well.
You know what I mean?
You and the general public, apparently.
I get that it's meant to be like 97% like positive reviews or whatever the fuck it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's fun. I'm just taking it 97 out of 100 because that's fun. That's what's fun to do about it. You know what I mean?
Brett is just a guy who likes to have fun. Right in.
I feel like there could have been more negative reviews, and I feel like it should sit around the audience score of 89.
Okay. Well, Dennis Schwartz from Oza's World Movie Reviews, he liked it, Brenton. He said one of the more amusing Bond films.
Hey, amusing's a good word to describe this shit.
It is pretty amusing. I do like that. I think he's nailing it on the coffin.
Jerry Shamray from Your Movies, Cleveland.com. How can you top characters with names like OddJob and Pussy Galore? The best of the Bond films.
It's true.
It's the best one we've reviewed, so, you know.
Probably. Do you wish we had, like, those names in the new Craig ones? Like, I know they're misogynistic and outdated, but, like, do you wish we still had them?
Kind of. I wish we had some strange names.
Oh, it'd be great. Joe C., he gave it 4.5 stars, Brett, and he said, the defining James 007 film should be required viewing in every educational system around the world. The only issue, it was too short. Classic. Should it be required in every educational system?
Mate, I don't know what weed you've been smoking, my friend, but classing this film as that it's like a necessity for your education.
Oh my goodness,
is a bit of a stupid thing to say.
But did I tell you, Brenton, that I saw this in year 10? Like as a class, we had to watch Goldfinger.
Oh my goodness.
So we actually did do this. But the reason we watched it is because our English teacher wanted to show us misogyny.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we watched a couple of scenes where James Bond's like, women, what are they for? So like, I don't think it should be taught. I think you can see examples of that in the current day. You don't need to look at James Bond for that.
Fat P gives it 2 stars. It says, any Bond film where Bond himself is captive for most of the movie and is kept alive for no reason is a bad one. The most overrated film in the series. Wow, Fat P, I disagree.
I mean, he's got a point. Like, it is a little bit ludicrous how Bond's being, like, held prisoner. And there's also no stakes to it because, like, you constantly see the two agents, like, randomly checking in on Bond now and then.
I agree with that. Look, I agree with that point. What I don't agree with is that it's the most overrated in the series.
Yeah, I think there are definitely overrated ones. Like, I mean, look at any other Bond movie. Like, They were all
Exactly.
too highly praised, in my opinion. Addie A gave it 3 stars and said this movie was fun but didn't make a lot of sense. And the main female character was totally named Pussy Galore. I mean, really? I don't think it's that distracting.
Really?
Like, I feel like her name adds to it. Like, you know? It's funny that she doesn't have like a real meta moment, which is like, yes, I know my name's Pussy Galore. Like, she just kind of runs with it. Like,
Yeah, she's like, that's my name. What the fuck?
yeah, it's like, Jesus, what are you doing?
Matthew Pasnick says, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die," is probably the best line spoken by a Bond villain. I'd agree. I think it's a pretty fucking killer line.
Or I do love it when in Skyfall, Javier Bardem is like interrogating Bond like in the chair, and he's like, "Oh, Bond," he's like, "Is this like the closest you've ever been to a man?" And then Bond's like, "Oh, what makes you think this is my first time?" And then like Javier Bardem's like, "Oh, Mr. Bond," and he's like leaning back. He's like, "Oh, you tease."
It's a good scene. That's a very good scene.
Oh.
But I'd say Goldfinger still takes the cake.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'll give him the cake.
Give it to him, Nathan. Pass it over. Go on, give him a slice.
Just like J Reed 1985, who wrote on YouTube, in the book, Goldfinger calls James Bond James Bomb, and that irritates Bond. Do you wish you had this in the movie?
I mean, maybe it's on the cutting room floor. Who knows?
Yeah, there's like all these outtakes, and where like Sean Connery's just getting more and more agitated. He's like, "Motherfucker!" He's like, "It's Bond, damn it!"
Nathan, that is James Bond Goldfinger.
Oh, we did it, Brenton. We made it to the end of the year, and oh boy, we finally came to a Bond that isn't as shit as the others. This was the real Christmas gift.
That's very true. Now, guys, I just want to say something really quickly, and that is that you should totally go to all the platforms we're on and tell us what you think of Goldfinger. Like, that would make it really, we'd really appreciate it. Tell us what you think. We'll have a chat. But more importantly, guys, this is our last episode of the year.
Yeah. Of the decade, Brenton.
Whoa.
We're entering a new era of the podcast next year.
Woohoo! Woo! We certainly are. And we can't wait for it. But for now, we just want to thank you all for listening to us in 2019.
Yeah.
With your and providing your support, as always. And we love you guys. We really appreciate you guys. And we do it for you. You know what I mean? We do it all for you.
We do it all for you. So if you want to write to us, make sure you get in touch. Let us know what your favorite Bond film is. If this actually holds up and all that. You can find all the links in the description. So, yeah. Get around it.
That's it.
Yeah.
2019 done and dusted.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, Brenton, and I'll see you next year.
Well, you won't, because you fucking killed me in the bath at the start of the episode, you motherfucker.
Oh, no, but now I'm slipping, and maybe I'm going to fall into the bathtub.
Yes, come to me, Nathan.
Ah!
Bzzz. Shocking.